The Spanish Announce Table.
It is episode 370 of Pro Wrestling's best podcast, The Spanish Announce Table. We are here live, simul-streaming on Twitter and YouTube. We do it two times to you. 2 times to you we do it. Put that on a shirt. We're here to talk about the Royal Rumble happened. Tom went to the Royal Rumble live in person, braved the weather, the COVID, honestly, the Royal Rumble. We got to talk about that. We've got a whole lot of news happening in the pro wrestling community, right? The dirt sheets were abuzz about a lot of things, right? We're going to cover some of that. We're going to talk to you. This is what we love to do. We're the pro wrestling fan community circus. We're rolling into your town on your Twitters and your YouTubes, and we're setting up, and all we ask for you to join the circus is the mere price of playing along, right? Just talk to us, right? Use hashtag tweet the table. We will read those on the very next show, of course, whenever you tweet that. And then you can chat with us live, right? We are live on the Twitter or live on the YouTube where there's a chat. We love it. We love the pro wrestling. Tom, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Overall, can't complain. Things are
sad.
Going okay. Yeah. We don't need to talk about that portion of why I'm sad. All of this city is sad.
Yeah.
Google it if you don't know what we're talking about. But I did go to the Royal Rumble. St. Louis was a very enjoyable time. Got to take part in a little bit of fan experience that they had with some stores outside of the arena. Got to see 1 billion wrestling fans, it felt like, all across the town. Did some sneaker shopping, which was fun. And it was an overall enjoyable time. Now, we'll kind of get into it with hashtag tweet the table on a little bit more of the specifics. But I will say, I'm happy I went.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that I experienced, even though it's corny, but being a wrestling fan, doing the 10-1 countdown, and then just anticipating who that person is. It was fun to be a part of that portion of a wrestling fandom. So, I think everyone's consensus is that neither of those matches set the world on fire, and being there, I would agree. But again, it was fun. I enjoyed myself.
Good. Yeah. I watched the Royal Rumble, and I don't know that I enjoyed myself as much as you did from the couch at home. So sometimes that viewing experience is not as great at home as we like to say. We talk about declining attendance in sports venues and whatnot. Like,
right, but still,
the
even being there
and the whole, what do we
being there, we sat next to a guy dressed as Spider-Man, like full gear, like he was dressed in head to toe, like his mask, because he had to wear a mask.
Why the fuck is our mascot dressed as Spider-Man?
What now?
Back to the first thing we were talking about. What the fuck is the Spider-Man costume on our mascot for? Anyway, fuck it.
No,
the fucking,
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
right, fucking
kids.
Talk about that.
But so we sat next to a guy dressed as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
That was silly. There was plenty of people dressed as your favorite wrestlers. We saw a Goldust, an IRS, a Undertaker, a Hogan, a Macho Man. So that part was just fun to take a lap around the arena before the event even started and just look at all the silliness. Again, that portion, and again, doing the cliche thing that you always see on TV, that was worth the trip. So,
yeah. Well, that's good. Then we've got a lot to talk about with that Royal Rumble. It'll be interesting getting your take since you were there. Did you watch it back afterwards even? Because sometimes
some things.
I like to do that when I'm there live to see how things went, right?
Yeah, some moments that I remember where I was like, I wonder what that would look like. I watched back on the network or Peacock later. So I didn't watch the entire thing from start to finish, but certain moments where I was like, ooh, what would that look like on television? I did those things.
Okay, nice. Well, before we get into that, albeit even as we do this, we first like to bring you up to speed, right? There's a lot to follow as far as like breaking news, right? Because sometimes what's going on behind the scenes is just as enthralling as what's going on camera, right? So we like to keep you up to speed with the mother-loving news. And Tom, we've got some doozies. You ready?
Yeah, you gave me a number, and I'm interested to see what you picked.
All right. Ronda Rousey returned to WWE action this week as a surprise entrant and eventual winner of the Royal Rumble match at WWE's premier live event, the WWE Royal Rumble. There's been no official statements on the length of Rousey's agreement with the company, and you called this one during our picks.
Yeah, and I wasn't the only one, because when we got there and took our seats in the arena, God bless it, everyone thought Ronda Rousey was going to be in it. So it wasn't much of a surprise. The pop sounded more like validation than surprise. It felt like, yeah, I called it. You know what I mean? I said that was going to happen. That's how it sounded to me in the arenas, because everyone was just talking about Ronda from entrant number 3 to, I think, what she came out, 28, something like that.
Yeah.
All the entrants, someone would yell, in at least our area, someone would yell, "It's Ronda!" And then it would be, Cameron or some bullshit like that. But yeah, so it wasn't a shock from a crowd perspective. The pop so much felt like, I called that, and high-fiving their friend that they got it right, which, whatever. But yeah, Ronda's back, and I know we'll kind of popcorn around with news and then also hot takes and stuff, but let's just quickly talk about she wins the Women's Royal Rumble match, which was fun. It was an overall enjoyable match. But then she comes on Raw and tries to act. I think she was trying to act, but she is so overtaken by a crowd paying attention to her that she's do her promos in the back, right? Tape them at 2:00 and air them, 9:30 or whatever time you want to put it in the show. But don't have her go out anymore and have her talk, because she sucks. Like, sucks.
Yeah, the Ronda Rousey surprise entrance was like as good a kept secret as the Washington Commanders name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
or
think
CM Punk's debut.
Right, yeah, all these kind of things. Her winning it just does not shock me. It would shock me if she didn't at this point, because we talked about this on last week's episode when we made our picks. I think I said, you have to remember WWE is now booking for what the ESPN headline is going to read. And it's going to read, Ronda Rousey returns, wins Royal Rumble, will fight for the title at WrestleMania.
So,
end of story, because it's ratings.
Yes. So, we haven't got to Friday. Again, we record on a Thursday night. If you're listening to the podcast later or watching YouTube later, again, thank you. But we're recording on Thursday night. She said she'll make her decision on Friday. So the last two in the Women's Rumble was Charlotte and Ronda. But she was also on Raw, and her and Becky sure seem to have something going on. So who would you think is she picking for the WrestleMania match?
No. This is going to be both. They're going to run it back. They're going to do number 2. They're going to put up number 2 and do the trifecta again. And both titles on the line. Somebody's going to be champ.
Here's what I'll say to that is, again, if you're reading on Twitter, because that just
your
pops
face
up.
said plenty, by the way.
Well, this is where I will say that's okay. Is, the other rumor going around is that at WrestleMania, it's going to be title for title, Brock versus Roman, right? Now, if we do Ronda, Becky, Charlotte 2, but we also unify that title, like if we're unifying the championships to make it one winner, and then that one winner is going to be on both Raw and SmackDown, and we're done with the brand split, and then we're just going with the best talent gets on the show, I'm okay with that, right? Like if it's a title unification for both of those matches, I'm in, right? Because then what happens? Because if Charlotte loses, she can't then next week go, but I still got a title and I'm the queen. Like now she's a loser, right? Same with Becky, same with Ronda. Loser. But yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be the story of whoever loses that match. So if you can't hide behind a title, that's more interesting. If it's just, hey, we're going to run it back and see what happens, miss me with that.
No, I
bullshit.
think she's going to I think how it'll happen is she being Ronda is going to be like, you're a bitch, but I picked this bitch, right? Fill in the blank, either one, Charlotte or Becky. And then the other one gets so maniacally pissed off that they force their way into it over time, a la, however that Miz Rock Cena thing worked out. Isn't that how that worked? I can't remember how.
Well, it wasn't a triple threat. Rock just came in and interrupted the match to give Miz the win.
Yeah, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
I forget what storyline I'm thinking of because, they all kind of run
Well, it
together
was the
somewhere.
Charlotte one, right? It was Becky and Ronda, and that's what it was supposed to be. And then Vince was just like, and then we're putting in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Yeah, but I think the storyline thing is that, the other one is going to be kind of almost take that yeah, the fuck dare you,
Right.
And either character that fits fine, right? Big time Beck's gonna have a delusions, but it probably more fitting of the queen, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then they just start to slowly attack both of them until they both have no choice but okay, we were gonna have this match, but I do want to fight that bitch too. So
I will say it was interesting to end Raw with, rushing Ronda out of the ring, keeping Becky in the ring, and now all of a sudden at our next pay-per-view Elimination Chamber, it's going to be Lita versus Becky. Like, where did that come from?
Dude, what? Look.
Now, again,
we'll save some talk for the part-timers later.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
Ronda.
But I think Ronda wins this time.
Of course. Yeah.
2 titles.
Yeah. Ronda 2
and
belts.
Perhaps somebody comes in and gives her the ovarian delight at the end, and everybody's like, oh, tune in next week.
Yeah.
But that would be too much for them, so probably not.
Well, that would be too creative. I could book
that's
what
what I
you
mean,
want in there,
right.
but yeah, the effort there, they ain't gonna fucking do.
Yeah. How cute. All right, let's go. Shane McMahon also returned to WWE action this week, also as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble match at WWE's premier live event, the WWE Royal Rumble. McMahon's run with the company did not last long, as a few days later reports surfaced that nearly everyone backstage was upset or disappointed with Shane McMahon's selfish booking demands and confrontational demeanor, leading to him being let go from the company. And man, I think the Chappelle Show said it pretty well one time, that cocaine is a hell of a drug, right?
Here, being there, if I would have had a drink, I would have threw it at the ring, because I was one row above floor seats. I have a good right arm. I played center
Something
field.
to do with this Leo Rush accident?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I'm excited to hear about
he
that.
got hurt in the ring, and they think some of it was people were throwing drinks at him and hitting him in the head.
I mean, I'd do that too. But no, if I had a drink, I would have threw it at Shane McMahon, because in the Rumble, and now I didn't direct it directly at him. I thought maybe this was a Vince call because he loves his son, but maybe not. Could have been a Shane
I
thing.
don't think he does. I don't think he does love his son.
Well, he fired him, for Christ's sake, right? That should say something. But going back to what irritated the piss out of me.
No, fucking Pritchard fired him and handed him a trash bag.
Well, Vince is, you know what I'm saying. Vince is okaying that. But Shane McMahon booked a spot in the Royal Rumble where he had an offensive exchange with UFC fighter Matt Riddle and came out looking better. He took Matt Riddle to school with boxing.
Yeah.
And I literally, again, like I said, if I would have had anything in my hand, I would have threw it. I hammer fisted the seat. I was so upset with how stupid that was. And that was a whole fucking night from him.
Well, and the reports say even, again, these are online rumors, but they are all pretty lockstep with each other in various forms. He was like, oh no, I'm going to go at Kevin Owens because of our deal, and I'm just going to toss him around like a sack of shit. Just all of it. That whole, Rumble was booked weird, and we'll talk more about that. But yeah, the Shane McMahon stuff was all like super Shane all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that was.
And now that he's apparently let go, which is being confirmed by, again, like you said, multiple news sources. Good. Like no one cares. Again,
nobody's asking for this.
Right.
We say that, but wait till another news story comes up. You're going to, yeah.
Okay.
All right, but not this one. We'll get into another one first. Here. Jeff Hardy turned down an offer to return to WWE action this week as an entrant in the Royal Rumble match at WWE's premier live event, the WWE Royal Rumble. Jeff Hardy's brother Matt confirmed to online reports this week that Jeff was offered a spot in the Rumble match as well as a spot in this year's WWE Hall of Fame. However, Jeff turned down the option and instead demanded that WWE send him a copy of his drug test results prior to the company firing Jeff in December 2021. Matt Hardy alluded that WWE let Jeff go because they wrongly believed he was abusing drugs or alcohol again following an in-ring incident where Jeff became disoriented. So he said, fuck you, you're calling and like asking me to come back and do this and get a Hall of Fame when you know you fucking fired me for the wrong shit. Apparently, It sounds like he actually hit his head in that and was like
concussed, probably
like fucking concussed. And they were like, "You're on the smack again, pal."
Yeah,
it's probably
now
this is Pruitt it all over it, doesn't it? Like, and then putting the boot to him.
Well, I will say,
look,
the idea that Jeff Hardy would have been on drugs, and I'm not trying to say, but like, it wouldn't have been out of the realm of possibility. Sure. So I understand we're gonna drug test you, right? Like, we don't necessarily believe it's a concussion. However, if you're going to fire the damn guy before the test results come out, like, you are just ran ass backward.
Do not call him. Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, from what I understand, have enough fuck you money that they don't need Vince's money. Like, they'll work with him and take his money, but they are instantly one of the most highest price tags on the indie scene anytime they want to be. So, like...
Well, and AEW too.
And AEW exists, right? So, like, they don't care. And so the idea that, like, we'll just call them and be like, come into the Hall of Fame, whatever. And, like, they think that Hall of Fame thing is a big dangle front. But I think people of, like, our generation and younger kind of get, like, that's a joke.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. The older generation, when you were asking back in the day, Paul Orndorff or Junkyard Dog, who you fucked over, hey, you want to be in the Hall of Fame? To them, that is a big deal because at the time they think this is a prestigious Hall of Fame.
It's also a paycheck.
Right. But now
there's royalties involved, right?
But also now, like, I'm going in with Mr. T. That doesn't feel fucking great, right? Or I'm going in with Donald Trump. That doesn't feel fucking great. Kid Rock. Like, I'm not saying the celebrity wing is the stupidest thing in the world, but it also doesn't add that prestigious, oh, wow, okay, I'm going in for the merit of my work. No, you're just going in because you're somewhat popular and we need spots to fill.
Kid Rock's in the fucking Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Kid Rock.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
So good on Jeff Hardy, man. And the Inspiration fucking did that as well. They said, fuck
yeah, and that's what I wish, I imagine. No, I'm going to save it for when we get Tweet the Tables. But I got a hot take for Mickie James after the Royal Rumble still.
I don't think anybody's mentioned that, or at least
okay. Then I'll mention it right now.
Mention it right now.
You fucking punk ass! Like, you are such a. This is a big moment. Really? You just took the paycheck because you were in and out faster than I got to the bathroom and back to my seat, and nothing happened from it. You showed up. You showed a fucking title that 200 people have seen. You get kicked out of the ring faster than anything else. You don't have a moment except for like a quick one with Michelle McCool, I think it was. And that was it. And now, like, you're the one, right? Because we kind of took a stand. The Inspiration, Jeff Hardy, Nia Jax even said no. Like, there was a group of people who got wronged by the WWE and said no, but you, the tattletale, who post everything on Twitter and said, like, this is a horrible thing, you ran right to that paycheck as quick as they called. Punk ass.
I also took, and look, I know we have different perspectives. I being a, dude watching wrestling is different than a female doing wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the whole, like, talking about making history of the Forbidden Door thing, we've discussed this. Like, you're not the first person to have come from another company and been on WWE television on a major pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not the first to do that ever. You're maybe the first in modern times. And we've discussed some of the aspects of, like, why you were an easy choice for them to make. And then we might talk about it a couple times this week. Over on AEW, Dan Lambert said one of the best lines in pro wrestling recent history of, I thought you'd be aware of the danger of when a wrestler starts believing their own bullshit. So, like, all these, like, tear-stained fucking, like, I'm doing this for the workers, like, thing in the back. No, you're meaning I'm making it more easy for people to take dirty money, essentially, is all you did. Is all you did. But am I wrong on that? Am I really a big asshole for saying that?
Well, no, because no, you're not. But I think where my frustration comes is it wasn't as if everyone said yes, and now we're putting Mickie James in a position where if she doesn't say yes, why is she the only one that said no, right? Everyone held firm, right, of the people I mentioned, that they weren't coming back. No, they got wronged, and they know they have principle, and so they're not going to do it. But you did. And that's where I'm like, now it's, February 3rd, you got to go back to Impact. You got to go talk to those people that said no when you said yes, and you got to work with them. And I guarantee you, they're going to look at you a little different. Even if you don't know it, in the back of their mind, they're...
Well, because here's what it is. Like, now you're not the inspiration and you're not Jeff Hardy. You are Shane McMahon. You are Brock Lesnar, right? Like, that's what you are. You're only here at Impact right now because they pushed you away, is all that screams. It's like you would go over there now. You're Laura from Family Matters, that like you'd leave Stefan, or you'd leave Steve for Stefan in a moment like that because you fucking suck as a human being.
Good reference.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's for the old heads. Yeah,
I like cheer for that relationship. She was a bad person.
She is. Yeah. I mean, I don't blame her, but also,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm not saying I'm a good person, but why am I not getting cheered too? All right, we'll move on. That's fun. Oh, man. The Brian Kendrick, all in the course of this week, was granted his WWE release he requested in January, was announced to appear on AEW Dynamite in a match against Jon Moxley, and then removed from that match and told he had no place in AEW when old social media posts surfaced where Kendrick made anti-Semitic comments and seemed to support various conspiracy theories, including downplaying or questioning the Holocaust and the Sandy Hook school shooting. Dude. And then he's on Twitter saying, like, I don't believe that. I just said, like, oh, you don't, huh?
It's one thing if you sign your name to something you may not fully understand, right? Like, when the people stand in front of the grocery store, like, hey, would you support this legislation? You're like, maybe, right? Like, it's one thing to do that.
I even see how Joe Rogan gets into those where he's like, so you're saying this? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, huh, interesting. And people are like,
he believes it. Right. Yeah. Like, no, he
right.
just said interesting. Right. Yeah. There are definitely times when, especially Joe Rogan does that. However, I watched these videos. I saw them.
Oh, really? I have not.
Yeah. Follow David Bixenband on Twitter. He's a fucking, he'll find out everything about you if especially if you don't like it, but he'll find everything about you. So I
love that guy.
Yeah. But I watched these videos, right? And man, you didn't seem intoxicated, right? It wasn't a drunken rant where even then it kind of comes out
drunk on your own brain.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But you were saying that coherent, sober, and more than once.
Matter of factly, even.
Yeah. And so I think you did believe it. I think you do believe it. And sorry about your luck. Like, what do they say? Karma, right? Karma's a thing that people believe in. Like, this is a time when, if karma's real, like, karma came back and bit you in the ass. And, like, don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad.
I do think this is also another instance of AEW really trying to jump the gun to be like, look at us, we're doing the cool thing and wrestling for people. And it's like, slow down here and be a little.
But in their defense, I will say this. In their defense, we never knew of this content in the X amount of years he was at 205 Live, right? So it wasn't as if we've heard whispers and then he gets released.
He's been backstage worker for WWE. Right. Like, he's been training the ladies and all that.
But no one collectively knew of an open secret that, like, Brian Kendrick hates Jews or, whatever it is, right? And so I think what they were trying to, allegedly, I think what they were trying to do, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I think they're using Brian Kendrick to further the story of Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, because Brian Kendrick and Bryan Danielson are good friends. Jon Moxley maybe beats him up, brings out Bryan Danielson, and now we maybe get a different story than what we got on Dynamite, because we'll talk about it here in a moment. But that's what I think the shotgun. But that's why I think we shotgunned the Bryan Danielsons now on Dynamite tonight, right? Because they had something cool planned. But again, you can't talk bullshit, and then when you get caught, go like, but that was never me. The people know we've done this for 8 years. You're going to pull fucking clips of me saying the worst fucking things, and I'm not going to go like, no. I'm going to say like, I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But like,
we have grown a lot, Tom and I, in the 8 years we've been doing this podcast. We are unrecognizable from the people that started this podcast in many ways. But we'll tell you that.
Yeah,
we'll discuss
now.
it. Yeah, we will tell you like what we hated about us. I mean, like, hey, we'll tell you, our therapists, our fucking, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of people.
But if you call me on it, if you call me on it, I will tell you most likely that I have evolved, but I'm not going to say these comments were never about who I am. No, I mean, probably at the fucking time it was, and now I'm not. It's called evolution.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's why the apology from Brian Kendrick was so hollow when he said, I don't believe these things. It's like, maybe you said you did and now you don't. I believe that more than I never did, because the videos say something else.
I believe that when me shit turns purple and smells like rainbow sherbet. All right, let's get into another one. This one is fun. Because it's happening. Austin Gunn, according to a report from eWrestling News this week, filed for a trademark of the name The Ass Boys in late January.
I love it. That has to happen sooner rather than later, right?
And listen, this isn't just for like cheap grins and giggles. Like Gunn Club, Austin and Colton Gunn, and Billy Ass. Mm-hmm. If you are wanting to get to a next level with these guys, this is the shit that's going to get you on like the fucking nightly talk shows and the stuff. The name The Ass Boys will turn heads, cause controversy, especially for like, and it will draw back eyes of people who knew who the ass man Billy Gunn was. Like he was a star, a major star in one of the most watched times of pro wrestling.
Oh, definitely. And it allows you to evolve your character, but when, let's just say, this does catch fire, right? We're all chanting Ass Boys. They're getting a tag team opportunity or tag team championship opportunity right now, right? But let's just say a year from now they're more of a serious team. They can still go back. Right, but they can still go back to the Gun Club, right? When it's time to like drop the shit and be a legit team, like they have that in their back pocket.
Right.
But until that time, ride this out. I love that he filed for it. That means that he gets the joke.
So they could use the Gun, because they could go to like the Gun show, or they could do all kinds of things, right? Use all kinds of idioms with the name of the Gun, but always be the Ass Boys when needed. Like the Ass
that's what
Boys,
I'm saying.
When you're gonna be like frat boyish and you're gonna be fucking trying to do rap videos and shit, you have to be the Ass Boys, and I won't accept anything less.
Yeah, I love it. But I love that they get the joke, right? It's not one of those things that they're pushing away from or shying away from or like downplaying.
Right. Now you use that in the storyline for a while. I think you like continue this thing where the dad's like, you're the Ass Boys. Mm-hmm. And they're like, shut the fuck up. No, we're not. Yeah. Like, don't call me that, right? Like, and then girls are like, oh, are you the Ass Boys? And they're like, yeah. Right? Like just something, right? You just make it happen. Yeah. Oh,
but Danhausen has to be the one that gets the credit.
Oh yeah.
On TV.
More on Danhausen later.
Yeah, he's the best.
More on Danhausen later. This one is not fun. WWE released their 2021 fourth quarter documents this week, revealing nearly $1.1 billion in revenue for 2021, the company's highest earning year ever. Net income for the year is $180.4 million, a new record for yearly profits, a number that was way above financial analysts, or what financial analysts expected. And we're still not getting the answer from you people that are watching this. I also saw Royal Rumble set a record for the most merch they'd ever sold at a Royal Rumble. Who are you that likes this, and why do you want it?
The merch, they're starting to get smart with, because you know what they're doing? They're personalizing it. They're showing you the Arch and St. Louis and the WWE and St. Louis, and you love this city. Now just put a WWE logo next to it.
Suplex City, yeah.
Right, yeah. And so the merchandise they're getting way smarter on, because obviously, I'm from Kansas City, so I didn't care about any of the St. Louis stuff. But if they come to Kansas City and bring a, Royal Rumble, for Christ's sake, right? Like
got Chiefs logo on it. You might,
I might buy some of that shit. Like, even though I don't really like them, the personalized merchandise is one of the driving forces behind that, right?
Yeah.
Now the second thing, and this is, I don't read those things. I couldn't tell you the itemize how they made their money, but live content is king right now. Everyone wants live content. That's
the
why
majority of it's from their TV
their partnerships, right? That's what I'm saying. Because the UFC is making all-time record money because the ESPN needs to fill their time. NBC, Fox, they're paying WWE because they need live content, because they don't have shows that people want to binge and record. So they refer to sports and now wrestling, because people will watch that live. So that's where the money, in my opinion, again, I don't know exactly, but that's where I'm thinking all this money comes from. It's not me and you. It's
but I still
Fox, Disney, and NBC.
So I get it. It's more fun to watch like a live event, than half of what they write anymore on television. It's all tired and troped out. But so is WWE, right? Like, how have we, I don't get it. I don't get it. I had to stomach watching the Rumble. And I don't get what you like about it, and I need some feedback. I need people to get in this chat. I need people to use hashtag tweet the table and say, I love Nikki ASH because my grandmother used to fucking wear yellow. Somebody's got to tell me what is going on, because it can't be anything but that.
I will say that was a cool spot. That was the coolest Nikki ASH ever was when she took out.
Yeah, and we'll get there when she took out Molly. Yeah, no, that's fun. All right, but we'll move on. WWE making money, I guess. Fucking great.
But again, I don't think it's from us.
Ring of Honor announced the Briscoes will be the first inductees into their newly announced Hall of Fame. The Briscoes are the most decorated tag team in Ring of Honor history with 12 title reigns, and Jay Briscoe also held the singles world title for ROH twice, making him one of only 5 wrestlers to hold the ROH world title more than once. You know who those are?
No. Wait a minute. Tag team to hold it more than once?
Singles. So Jay Briscoe held the singles title twice, and only 5 people have done that in ROH history. Held it multiple times, period.
Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal is one of them. And Jay Briscoe is one of them, so there's 2.
Jay
so
Briscoe, yeah. Jay, and then I'm going to guess Nigel McGuinness?
Nope.
Oh. Adam Cole.
Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah. I'm going to say Bryan Danielson. It feels like...
wrong. Nope. Nope, you're way off on these. It'll be Austin Aries and Rush.
Oh. Austin Aries.
One of those 5 men have held it a record 3 times, and that is...
Austin Aries.
Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, okay.
Interesting little trivia.
I was close, though. For someone who doesn't watch that shit, that was pretty good.
And ROH Hall of Fame, I'm interested way more than I am the existing Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame, right?
I will say, yes, but I will say one cool aspect of what happened at that GCW show at the Hammerstein Ballroom was the night before, where I believe it was the first ever Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, where they were putting guys and girls who most likely won't get the shine from a WWE Hall of Fame. I like that. That's cool, because then it exposes me to industry leaders who helped the famous people I know. So I love that Hall of Fame. I'm looking forward to the second iteration of whatever that is. But yeah, Ring of Honor is also another.
Yeah. Interesting that they went with the Briscoes for first ever. Now, I get that's somebody that's there now and is helping to kind of still wave the flag and continue the legacy. And a lot of the WWE names are probably likely going to be a hard deal to acquire.
Well, yeah. And
Right.
also, I believe that's a good, like, I think the biggest shit the bed moment from TNA's Hall of Fame was the first one was Sting. And Sting, if you look at his career, he did spend a long period of time there, but you don't think of Sting in TNA. You think of Sting in WCW. You had at the time.
And I don't even think of TNA as like Sting either.
Right.
Right. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's not some of the first
but
names.
Like you had Jeff Jarrett, AJ Styles, you had a crop of people that you could have picked from. So like they already fumbled their Hall of Fame. And then they went with Kurt Angle, I think was the second one, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, nah, even though again, Kurt Angle spent more of his career in TNA than he did WWE.
But I think
again,
everyone unilaterally at the time even was like, that should have been Jeff Jarrett. You guys are fucking
Right.
like, and nobody
Yeah.
likes Jeff Jarrett, right? But they were
right,
like,
but
guys.
it should have been him. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fucking.
And so I think it's good that at least you're starting off on the right foot. It's not the sexiest pick. It's not Bryan Danielson or CM Punk or Samoa Joe, any of that stuff. But when you say Briscoes, you think Ring of Honor.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, final story here. Another quick one here. Let's get out of here. Rio announced on social media this week that she broke her collarbone. Rio did not say when this injury occurred or what her expected recovery time is, but did say her pain is mostly gone. Rio's last televised appearance was on January 8th, losing her title match to AEW Women's World Champion Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, at AEW's Battle of the Belts.
I've read that it was that match that she broke her
Probably
collarbone, and it was pretty early on, and she powered through. So credit to her for not calling an audible. I mean, again,
Yeah.
I think you should, because you probably caused more damage than needed. But yeah, so credit to her. And again, I'm not gonna miss her. You know what I mean?
Don't. So I know I haven't seen anything Rio prior to like showing up on American television in AEW.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the storylines were, and I don't know what their chops were in that regard here. But like, all I see is somebody who can do the moves. Nothing like doing anything again. We're talking like, this isn't like Usain Bolt is sprinting against other fast people, right? This is just somebody with athleticism jumping around and smiling a lot. And I don't get why we're like getting that more often than we're getting Miro or any other women on the roster at some point. Like, I don't see the value in like watching Rio. Jamie Hayter. Fucking even, I would rather watch a Nyla Rose match. Like, I don't understand. And not that Nyla Rose is bad. I'm saying like there's storytelling and acting in this, and like and there's a character there. This is like a poster come to life. I don't know what is going on. And I don't know why people are like, Rio. I'm like, why? This goes back to the WWE thing. Like, people need to explain why at some point, because I don't get it. I think you're making it up, or I think you're just like told to believe this, and you do. Yeah. Why do people like this act of Rio?
The one girl
I hate it, but like, why do people like flat. Cheer for it?
Yeah, I would say the one girl who came over during the pandemic, who was like the Dance Dance Revolution, who was doing the songs, and she would always do like
that was right. That's at least a shtick. That's like Orange Cassidy.
Right. Like, I can understand if you like that, right? Like, I maybe don't, but like, I get it if you do. But to your point with Rio, that's a carbon copy of just create a female wrestler, right? Like, if I have a video game, it might spit out Rio because I might not put a lot of effort in it. You know what I mean?
Say WWE didn't know how to like do anything with a foreign character that couldn't speak the language. Like, this is the same.
But again, I think that is her character. I think if we watch, Shimmer or something else, like, that is her. But
it's just bounce around and smile. Like, I don't get it. I don't know why. Man, wrestling fans are weird.
Yeah, you guys are so weird. Thanks for joining and listening.
Thanks for joining. That was the mother loving news. Some fun stories in there, some interesting stories, some ones I don't get, but is what it is. And if we didn't get your favorite story, we don't care. You're not here.
Tell us in hashtag tweet the table. How about that? Tell us in hashtag tweet the table that we didn't get a story.
Send us some donations, right? You can go on the YouTube channel right up there. There's links up there. You can link from there, or you can go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net. There's links up there for the PayPal merch table if you want to buy some stuff. We love you. If we miss a story, honestly, tell us, like Tom said.
Yeah.
You might not still care, but you can tell us.
Yeah.
What we do care about, though, is talking to you. So we do care. And one of the easiest ways to do it if you can't watch live and chat with us, is to use hashtag Tweet the Table on Twitter, and we'll pick those up on the very next episode. Just like at Theo75 tweeted us, and he said, I am watching the hashtag Royal Rumble and waiting for T-Mac to jump the barrier and enter the Rumble. Hashtag Tweet the Table. And man, this show probably would have went a lot more viral, Tom.
It would have. It definitely would have. I probably would have been bored, though, going to the barrier. Like, it wasn't, I wasn't in the mood
the world beater. You probably were going to go, but then you saw Shane McMahon. You're like, oh, shit. This guy's going to kick everybody's ass.
Best in the world. Yeah.
Whew.
Right?
Them punches.
Yeah.
Landed.
But I was never at a point where it was a fever pitch that I was going to lose control of my actions and maybe jump the barrier, right? Like, it was a very pedestrian and ordinary event.
Right.
Now, again, I don't know what's on deck for hashtag Tweet Table. I will say, though, for as much as it kind of fell at the finish line, it started great. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins doing the fucking old Shield intro or entrance, like, I was into it.
Yeah.
Even we got the women, right? The Sasha Banks doing a little booty dance or whatever it was, like, we had some fun momentum
in the Rumble matches where I was like, all right, they're doing this well. Like the almost thing, they were doing it well right until they eliminated him.
Yeah.
Like that went soft. The who knows what the Kofi thing would have been.
Yeah.
How did that come across, by the way, in live? Did people understand what happened?
Yeah.
We got the big screens up and stuff, huh?
We could see. And so he jumped towards us, and when his feet hit, we're like, man. Now, here's the thing, though. Do we have any more Rumble Tweet Tables?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll save it. Okay. Yeah, I'll save it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about this one. 2 people wanted to tweet about this. So I'll read 2 of them. At Ash Hendricks 92 says, Lesnar did not need to win the Rumble. SMH, hashtag Tweet the Table. And then at AUC Cata says, Brock is here to win this underwhelming Rumble match. This is damn near poetic. Hashtag Royal Rumble, hashtag Tweet the Table. And man, this is one of the letdowns, right? Because like you don't need Lesnar to earn his spot in the Rumble to like get here. You let him show up after being gone for years sometimes and just be like, you and me, punk, right? Like, and everybody's just like, oh shit, okay, guess I got to fight fucking Brock now because Brock gets to call his own shots. He doesn't have to win an Elimination Chamber. He doesn't have to win a fucking Royal Rumble for you to book him there, right? It feels wasted.
Well, can we go in the world?
It feels like you didn't know how to book, so you were like, well, this was believable.
Well, so they did know they did know what they were doing, right? It was purpose, every decision they made. But can we jump in the world of kayfabe just for a quick second? Let's just jump in the quick world of kayfabe pro wrestling, right?
Yes.
So he has a match earlier in the night against Bobby Lashley, and that had some buzz. That had some feel of like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Now I was yelling, "Where's Roman?" the entire time because you could see what was gonna happen from a mile away. However, it still had some buzz, right? But again, let's jump in the world of kayfabe here for a moment. So all of this is real, right? To us, right? This is a story. We're watching it, So you're trying to tell me, WWE, that Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman as his advocate would then get betrayed by that advocate, but yet still have the thought to put him in the Rumble in case he lost? Like, how did he get in the Rumble? I would have almost, if you were going to say Brock Lesnar wins the Rumble, right? Like, that's the decision. Like, if you say, Thomas, fucking book the Rumble, but the winner has to be Brock Lesnar.
Right.
Have him beat up whoever number 30 is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But then he just runs out and is like, I'm 30. At the start of the night, you were the champion. So how the fuck did you get in the match? Like, it's those little things that they don't fucking think about that makes it lame.
And again, that's what makes it lame, is because if you come to that thing, the easy answer is like, again, he didn't need to win the Rumble. Somebody wins the Rumble. He shows up and he's like, hey, I don't like that decision.
Me and you for the chance at WrestleMania.
You have a heel win the Rumble, right? You have Baron Corbin win the fucking Rumble or something, right?
Yeah. Right.
Happy Corbin, whatever. And then,
Yep.
whatever. And he comes out and he's like, nah, you're not it. Sorry, pal. I told him in the back that, you know what I mean? Like, they could count on Brock Lesnar never wrestling again, or I get to challenge you for your WrestleMania match. And then they're like, you can't do that to me. And he's like, oh, I can. Ring the bell, and then fucking F5, and he's got it.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have strong-armed Adam Pearce because we've already seen him do it before. He could have done that backstage, and then that's how he got the opportunity. Or, again, you could have had, at the number 30 spot, Apollo Crews, who was not in this fucking match, which blows my mind. You could have had him walk down, get sideswiped by Brock Lesnar, F5, whoever comes out, let's just say it's Adam Pearce again, Brock Lesnar, flexes on him, and Adam Pearce is like, okay, fine, and then Brock Lesnar gets in the match. But again, in the world of kayfabe, it makes no fucking sense that your champion has the thought that I have a contingency plan if I get turned on.
Ways. Right. He doesn't think Brock Lesnar's never the type to be like, well, in case I lose, let's have a backup plan.
Yeah.
We don't believe that. So then that means after this match happened, he went on, holy shit, I got to get the title back. Not on, I got to go beat Paul Heyman's ass. Not on any of that. It's, I got to get back in this match so I can get back at other people now. I can go focus on Roman. It's almost like, why does he care about this other title then? Mm-hmm. If he just wants to go after Roman. So like, so then he had to have strong-armed his way in because they,
but we didn't see it.
Because to me, I understand they already had the 30th entrant booked.
Yeah.
But we should have seen that the next day. We should have seen that heel being like, you stole it from me. And he's like, tough shit, pal.
Yeah.
Testicle fucking twist. And then,
And even more so, the smartest guy in the room, Paul Heyman, as his advocate, knowing he was going to turn on Brock Lesnar, you would have thought, again, if this is all real, Paul Heyman would have figured out a way to not get Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble, right? But nothing was explained, and it was just, hey, that's fun. Don't you guys like the music? It's playing again. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a break from the Rumble for a second and go back out to Ash at Ash Hendricks 92, and he says, "Can anyone explain Danhausen to someone that has never seen a match, please?" Hashtag tweet the table.
He's the best.
Danhausen is a wrestler who has been possessed by a demon, and this is the results you see. Now, maybe explaining the character, it is comedy based, right? But he's also a good wrestler, and he uses that sort of demonic stuff, albeit, is it in his head? Is there results? Sometimes there appears to be actual results. So it's intriguing. It's fun. It's akin to Orange Cassidy.
That's
with
what I
a
was
little
more,
more,
silliness.
Flavor. Yeah.
A little bit more silliness. I would say it's a demon-possessed Orange Cassidy in AEW.
Yeah.
Again, now if you don't know who Orange Cassidy is, then we got a lot of explaining
and I think the beauty of it is because of some of these extra layers, there's a whole lot more stuff you can do with stories and fun breaks, and you can even get serious with it if you had to in some instances. A little bit easier, I think, than with the Orange Cassidy. So I'm a fan of Danhausen, and I encourage you to go check out some of his stuff.
Yeah, and how much fun was it on night one of Danhausen officially in AEW? And he's cursing Jon Moxley, the most serious wrestler other than maybe Eddie Kingston on the damn roster. And he's going, you're cursed. Like,
right after he cursed him, he's getting hit and getting taken out.
Look back to the Adam Cole Orange Cassidy match when he debuted. He cursed Adam Cole. Adam Cole ends up shitting the bed and losing the match. So maybe there is something to these curses.
Maybe there's something to it. We'll see. Yeah, stay tuned.
Anyhow,
you'll love Danhausen the more you see him.
Yeah, check him out. Check out also his Twitter. He gives the greatest names to pro wrestlers. It's not Chris Jericho. It's Chris Judas. It's Brian Danielson, not Danielson. He's perfect.
Always in the vein of like where it's almost like it's just because he couldn't have been bothered. He was moving so fast to actually learn the real name, right? He knows who it is.
Well, and then he also,
like that old guy is like, Billy, like, and you're like, it's Tom. And you're like, I fucking know who you are. Shut up and get over here.
Yeah. Right? Well, and then he also, because of this demon possessed, wrestler, he thinks he retired Undertaker in 1993. He'll tell you that. He retired Undertaker in 1993, and the rest of it was a retirement tour. the entire rest of his career after 93 was a retirement.
Yeah.
Like, it's just great stuff.
So
like
the
that.
beauty of the Danhausen character, peeling back the curtain, is the guy playing the Danhausen character is hilarious, right? He's a very creative mind, and just got.
He figures it out. He figures it out.
Hey, here's a name you haven't heard in a while, Tom.
Okay.
El Ultimo Uno.
Hey.
Yeah. He says, Cameron? Okay. Hashtag tweet the table. Now listen, the idea of Cameron coming out is fine, is great even when you have your storyline of Naomi and you have your storyline of whatever the fucker, Sonya Deville. But like all you did was have Sonya Deville shit can her, and then it's too late for her to like help or maybe turn on Naomi or do anything interesting of any storyline merit other than make Sonya Deville look like an asshole, which you have already accomplished. We all already understand that.
So, okay, so this is where I want to get into a little bit of the just total lack of detail that came from this Royal Rumble. Here's just a couple of fucking things that I yelled from the crowd that they could have done. First off, yeah, Cameron gets eliminated before Naomi is even in the fucking match.
Yeah.
They don't even get a
They don't get to stare each other
thing.
down. They don't get a bump out. They don't get to be mad or happy with each other at all.
Right.
At all.
You could have easily had all the women go to the corners, and then Cameron and Naomi, literally, you play the Funkadactyls music, someone throws them pom-poms, and you get a silly ass moment like that, right? That's idea number one. You know what idea number fucking two is, Tim, that they didn't even fucking do for the hardcores? You have, and they put them in the fucking match, so you had the talent to do it, but again, no one's fucking thinking. You had Alicia Fox and Melina, and you could have had the fucking two of them standing there, and because that's Cameron's fucking match, the three of them could have had a little moment that would have paid off a silly joke from 5 years ago or whatever.
She could have been like, "Oh my god, it's you two," right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
She could have been like the greatest wrestling match of all time. She could have been like hugging them and asking for autographs and shit, and they would have been like, and threw her out, right?
And they are the ones who throw her out, and now is that you're still.
And they did that with the Bellas, right? They did that with the Bellas and Alicia Fox, right? She's like, "Fucking Team Bella," and they're like, "Yeah, you." Fuck out of here, right? Like, same thing could have happened there. It's easy, but it's like it gives that little nugget to the person who's not.
It gives a reward for watching all this shit, right? So that's fucking one there, right? That there's plenty of other examples, but then the most aggravated I got in that whole fucking Royal Rumble match was in the men's Royal Rumble match. You fucking knuckle dragging idiots! You tell me for weeks. Fucking weeks, you tell me Dominic and Rey Mysterio are having this fun fucking thing where one of them might eliminate the other, and they're not even in the ring at the same time. You did 5 segments, I'm gonna guess, of who's gonna eliminate who, and they don't work together or even tease it in the fucking match because they're never even in there.
Ubers. If he threw him out at the Rumble, like all the stuff. They didn't
even have them in the match together.
I don't even remember. I forgot both of them were in the match. They didn't
because
do
they did nothing.
Right.
You had no moments created because you didn't even think. The only thing you thought of, like you said, was, and it was probably from the fucking Bellas because they know their characters, is, hey, if Alicia Fox is in there, let's do this. And Alicia Fox is like, that's great. And then we had that, right? But who's fucking remembering Team Bellas in a glowing light, right? Nobody. Fuck out of here. All that shit was bad. Team bad, team
but
porn
Melina
name,
Alicia
whatever
Fox
the fuck it was.
is a meme around the wrestling community.
It is known
everywhere.
Across every hardcore
The Mysterios is a story you don't have to have seen any WWE programming to know.
Father-son.
Here's father-son. And then they have this little, and
what
then
happens?
all they got to be is like, remember, they've been discussing what would happen if this happened all week, right?
And that's the other thing is on the surface level, you just go like, "Whoa, what happened if a father and son were in the Royal Rumble?" Okay, right? But like, you told us that.
Yeah, you
told us that
Yeah.
this could happen, and they're not even in the God.
You dedicated live television time to that,
and they're not even in there together.
Yeah, you were telling us that on a 3-second delay, you motherfuckers.
God, I mean,
we got no delay here, by the way.
Yeah, but like, they just pissed their pants writing this fucking match. Like, God bless America.
Well, because again, it sounds like they allow, for whatever reason, this is how McMahon runs this operation is he has a couple producers back there, but clearly nobody's like the lead producer. And like, so Shane McMahon gets to come in and he's like, yeah, he's producing the Rumble match too. And then they're like, he is? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, all right, well, which one of us gets to make the call? And Shane's like, I do. Look at my last name, motherfucker. And then it gets to Vince. He's like, who the fuck did this? And they're like, Shane. He's like, no, change that, change that. And like, they don't have a clear-cut plan. And they're always doing this shit the day of.
It was so, after it was done, I believe when Ray got eliminated and then a few spots later, Dominic came in, like I got red-faced mad because I realized what the fuck they just did and how stupid it was. And it's just like, I almost checked out right then and just like, I don't care. I hope Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out because that's the only thing that's going to make me happy. You know what I mean? And nothing. That didn't happen either. This Rumble, the men's one specifically, the women's one, Cameron, right? She's an idiot. It was silly. I kept on yelling, pin everyone when they were laying on their stomachs because she's an idiot. Remember that when she did that?
Yeah.
But like the men's match had all fucking tag team guys. You think Montez Ford's winning that? No. You think Dawkins is winning that? Nope. You think Happy Corbin or Madcap Moss are winning it? Nope. But you know who you didn't have in the fucking match? Finn Balor, who's on the fucking poster when I walked in. Apollo Crews, who's a former Intercontinental Champion. Fucking Shelton Benjamin you could have even had in there, who's a single star, which, you know, whatever. None of it. You put in all these lower mid-card tag team guys and just go like, but Brock wins, right? You guys like it when Brock wins? Fuck out of here. That bullshit. It was fun to count down from 10 to 1.
Right. Another quick break from the Royal Rumble. At FTW Scotty says, how do we feel about Sammy Guevara's second win title reign? I feel like it'll definitely be better than the first, but Cody was kind of making the belt hotter than Sammy was. In the words of an E-drone, I guess we'll let it play out. Hashtag tweet the table.
I will say, if you're paying attention to Twitter, which AEW fans are doing more of than, you know, let's say the older WWE crowd is, right? I will say, you know, Friday night, he'll be taking on Isaiah Cassidy from Private Party. If you go to Private Party's Twitter account right now, you know, if you're watching us live or listening to this on Twitter live, however you are, go to Private Party's Twitter account and you're going to see that their new profile picture is Tay Conti in a bathing suit. Yeah. And it's, hey, Tay, how are you? Tay and Isaiah, all these things. Like, if we're going to do that with these open challenges, we could build on something with Sammy Guevara doing something. But if we're just going to say, Sammy Guevara can beat anyone in the world that's at the mid-card level, open challenge Friday, I'm not into that. So we'll see.
Sammy Guevara faces Pac now for no reason, right? Like,
yeah, open challenge. And it's like, okay, but there's only
no
so much.
There's no reason. Yeah.
Well, there's only so many times you can do the, wow, it's this person versus Sammy. Like,
well, and again, especially with AEW, your demographic, you're not catching a whole lot of people who might kind of think some of this is really real, right? WWE is a different scenario. We've been in both some of these crowds, right? Like different crowds, right? A little more awareness in the AEW crowd. So we know that's not like a legit competition, right? So you can't just be like open challenge, just beating everybody. It's like, there's nothing for me to like, yeah, because you wrote it that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not giving me any twists and intrigue and turns.
Well, and also you can't just keep debuting new people to get the pop, right? It can't be Jay Lethal or Tony Nese. Like
Brian
eventually,
Kendrick.
Yeah, you can't be that. Now I will say we haven't
can't be Brian Kendrick.
Right, can't be that anymore. But we possibly do have something to build on because next week, everyone's favorite uncle Chris Jericho said that the Inner Circle are going to do a team meeting. There could be fallout from that, right? We could see Sammy taking on Chris Jericho for the TNT Championship. That would be fun, right? Like Jericho goes heel on Inner Circle or Sammy goes heel on however it is, right? So positive and patient, but let's not do the first time with Sammy. So that's what I would say.
All right, well, we're going to go out to Katie the First Lady on Twitter, but I'm glad we can pause right before that because she's in the chat in the YouTube saying, hey, like the women's Rumble match, the men's Rumble bored me to tears. Right in the worst pile.
Yeah. I will say the women's was more fun. There was more.
I had more like smiling moments in the women's. Yes.
And also there was more intrigue of who was going to win that match, right? You had viable contenders in Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Obviously Charlotte, but then Rhea Ripley, and then obviously Ronda Rousey. Like, there's more than one person that could win that. When Brock got in there, we all knew what was happening.
So, and that, especially with that Brock thing, like at the time when it was nearing down, yes, the men's rumble was boring and slow, but at the time as it was nearing down, they had like, I don't know, like 8 people left maybe, I think, when Brock got in there. And I was like, this is actually a decent group. I wonder who they're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, have come out of this. And then there was like coming down the last couple people, and I was like, this is an interesting group, and we'll see one more, right? And I was like, yeah, all right. Well, they could do something here, right? I'm kind of interested to see how this goes. And then Brock hits the ring, and I think in like 45 seconds, shit canned 6 of the people. Like, just makes it like it was clear if Brock ever wants in this match, you might as well just fuck off.
Yeah, just jump over the rope. Just hey, fuck it.
Again, like.
Yeah, Big E. Like, honestly, the only contenders that you could have thought was going to win until entrant number 30 was maybe Riddle, because you could have done something with him and Orton.
Right.
Maybe Big E, because he is a former world champion. And honest to God, that's it. Like, you're not believing Dolph Ziggler. You're not believing Robert Roode. You're not believing Otis. You're not believing Chad Gable. And so, fuck out of here. Like, that's what was so bad, is none of the people that you built up
and I'm sorry,
were viable.
One of these times.
In the mids match.
One of the fucking times in my life, just like I got to see the failed hot tag, can the big guy actually dominate his way and win the fucking a battle royal or rumble match? Like, can we make it realistic once? Almost. Well, like, come on.
And
you know what I mean?
That's another aspect that I thought they could have done that they just decided not to do. Have an all giant spot. You got enough fucking big guys, you can do it. You can have, who's the guy that comes out with Jinder? That young guy that's way bigger than
Veer
Jinder.
Mahan, right? The other one.
That guy. You could have had a 3-man spot of that guy, Amos, and Commander Aziz, and it's like, well, fuck, I'm usually the biggest guy in the match.
But see,
you know what I mean?
That's where, like, you know how guys accidentally, like, eliminate each other sometimes? Like, have the big men do that. It's always this idea that, like, everyone eventually 14 people gang up on him. And, like, sure, but, like, you do that every time. Every time. And Amos is, I don't think they're wrong. Like, we've seen, like reports of The Undertaker reaching out and being like, listen, this can be the fucking guy. And he, like, urged, like, almost specifically, like, please call me so I can tell you how not to let them ruin your shit.
Right.
Yeah. Like, is basically what he said. Like, you have to be protected, and I need to tell you how to do that. Like, because he does have some of that charisma and like understanding what his role is here and how to play it. And man, this isn't helping, right? I know the spots where it looked like he was unstoppable helped for a second, but now it looked like all you had to do was make him a little bit tipsy.
Yeah. Well, you just knew what was going to happen when enough people were in the ring. You know what I mean? But that's, again, the lack of originality. It was, let's play the hits. Hey, the big guy gets eliminated by 10 guys. I'm not saying my ideas are the best, but wouldn't it have been a little bit more interesting if in the, 10, 11, 12 spot, you eliminate everyone before that, except for maybe, let's say, AJ Styles. And it's, even there, you have AJ Styles standing in the middle of the ring, and it's Veer Mahan, the other guy that's with Jinder Mahal, Commander Aziz, and Amos. And he's like, what in the fuck? Like, these are trees standing next to me. Like, that would have been entertaining. But we just fucking don't want to do anything fun.
Nope.
God, it's so stupid.
Well, here we go. At Katie First Lady says, Rollins out here with the Shield music? That's such a sick move. Hashtag Royal Rumble, hashtag tweet the table. And yeah, I mean, they alluded, they sprinkled some Shield stuff into their stuff. And so he comes out and does the, the thing.
This was the match of the night. This was the coolest fucking thing.
Yeah.
I loved everything of when he's down on the ground and he's like, I'll always love you. And he's trying to do the fist thing to him. Like, it's the closest thing. Now, again, we've booked Roman Reigns to be 15 different things at one time now. Like it's his character is getting lost in the shuffle of what he even is. But you had the closest thing in WWE to like Batman and Joker, right? Where Batman is wanting to kill this guy.
It's a very good reference.
Joker just, he knows him, right? Like, aha, you're not going to. Come on, brother. Like, and it's like, that match. After that match, I was like, I am so glad I'm here. I think I'm going to be at an all-time great. I was fucking wrong, but that match was awesome. Yeah. I loved all of that match.
Well, again, like, they put forth minimal writing and only for a couple storylines, and Roman's one of those. And Seth Rollins knows how to like make the best of everything you put him in.
Yeah.
And work with it. So like, yeah.
The way it ended where he still had his hand on the rope, but Roman decided not to, because again, he knows like he gave it his best effort and the motherfucker isn't dying, right? And so he's going to hold on because he's a bad guy, which sometimes he is, sometimes anyhow, right? So like the finish, even though it was a DQ, I was like, good job, great. And then they even told a little bit more story where Roman recreates Seth Rollins' heel turn on him with the chair. And it was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And then Roman just interjects in Brock's match. And I was just like, man, really? We're just going to forget about all that fun we had at the start?
Did I forget? Didn't we already do Roman and Brock? Like, didn't we?
We've done it twice at WrestleMania.
But like, just even in this recent like head of the table shtick, didn't we already do this?
Yes. Yeah.
The fuck, man, they suck so bad.
It's just, yeah. And then Seth Rollins just gets in the elimination chamber because again, he got screwed out, which makes sense in kayfabe land, right? If we're going back into real. But like, but also,
he's not gonna fucking
why?
win it.
But why would he want to do that? Wouldn't he want a rematch with Roman?
They already told us what is going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let's move on to at El Ultimo Uno. He says, okay. I enjoyed Right to Censor Ivory. # tweet the table. And that's how you use like the returning. You need that like portal in time, right? Like a character that is long gone is now suddenly back and they're like, right? My old stomping grounds. And then it ain't your old stomping grounds anymore, right?
Yeah, and it was to a T of what her character was. These women and acting like skanks or whatever she said, but she held the mic the entire time. She wasn't letting go. She gets fucking thrown out. She's still
like, how dare you
shit.
afterwards? Like, you signed up for this.
It was perfect.
Loved it.
The music was
way
annoying.
Better than anything Ivory could have done, right? Because anything else Ivory, there's no like character trait to bite onto, but that coming out.
Oh, if she would have just said like, "Hey guys, I'm back," everyone like, okay, but like,
Neat.
But you come out as Right to Censor, and you just go straight heel. Like, it would have been okay, but it was taken to a new level when she was given the microphone. If she would have just walked out, fine,
no.
But the promo is what made it, and that was perfect. Yeah, she was one of the better ones for sure.
And she's like 87 years old, I think.
Easy. She's not Mae Young out here.
No.
Okay.
All right. At FTW Scotty says, shouldn't Santana and Ortiz be more of the fiery baby faces rather than looking incompetent without the help of Jericho? I'm feeling mad about that. Hopefully we'll have a better track when Eddie's back. # tweet the table. And so this was from last week, but I wanted to throw it in there because we didn't get to it. But, now we see Jericho on Dynamite, all fully hair plugged and teeth straightened and everything, looking like a brand new man, right?
And calling himself an influencer, and he's more influential than someone on
Well, we're
Instagram
getting the Inner Circle breakup here then, right?
I don't know, but...
Because he said attendance is mandatory, and you don't tell Santana and Ortiz what's mandatory, right?
You don't tell any of them. That's what I think may happen. Is attendance is mandatory.
Sammy
He's the only one in the ring. He's like, no.
I'm holding the title without you. You were never around for this.
And then Jake Hager's like, you don't tell me what to do, right? Like, I got Bellator fights coming up. Like, so it could be, I think that would be fun. Here's the thing that's sad, but also interesting to me, is I think we've reached the jump the shark moment with Chris Jericho. The first 3 years in AEW, he was doing Release the Hounds. I'm the youngest AEW world champion. The
all
stuff with Orange Cassidy.
Right?
All of it was great. The 5 labors of Jericho was great. But once he beat MJF,
dance dinner debonair, or whatever.
Yeah. But to me, as soon as he got the win over MJF, when he shouldn't have, if we're being honest, everything since then, even on commentary, has just been, hey man, you got anything else to do?
And to Jericho's credit, what makes him an all-time great is that like he's been able to notice that
and
switch it up completely.
Let's see if he notices it now.
But it's time. And Jericho, if you're watching, which I know you are, thanks.
Yeah,
it's time.
But GFY and influencer, whatever.
Yeah, now you're forcing it, and it's the jumping the shark moment. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you're not wrong. All right, we'll go back out to Katie. At Katie First Lady says, referencing Lita and Becky, says, this will be cool, but I did want Asuka to come out. I miss her. Hashtag where's Asuka? Hashtag tweet the table. Yeah, man, I'm not sold on this Lita thing. I really don't.
So you got to remember where the match is going to take place. This wasn't a WWE let's Lita into a championship opportunity. This was Saudi Arabia, who, remember, was still asking for Ultimate Warrior when he was dead.
Yeah, because that's what they're getting over there, probably. They're getting old footage,
Right, and so they're asking for this hot new commodity, Lita, to be in attendance, and that's why we're getting Lita versus Becky. Now, you could still tell some fun stories, though, right? Because Becky called her the GOAT, right? Like, she acknowledged that Lita is a legend and all that. So there is this aspect of maybe she's intimidated fighting her hero kind of thing. We could do that. But the entire reason this match is happening is that Blood Prince Diamond guy said, I want Lita. He probably also asked for Trish and got Lita instead. Or that's one of the two. You know what I mean?
Probably did ask for Trish and got Lita instead. Oh, God. Yeah, man. Yeah, interesting. All right, we'll move on because we talked about this earlier, and this one's going to be fun. At El Ultimo Uno says, with Mighty Molly showing up, I expected an Avengers-level type of team-up between her and Nikki ASH. Well, those hopes were dashed. Hashtag tweet the table. And no, I like this more.
Oh, that was great. That was so much fun. I mean, she didn't even get a move in. She didn't even get to the ring before her ass was kicked. I thought it perfect. It was
sinking in this Nikki ASH thing. And now, if this is what Nikki ASH had in mind all along, and like, listen, I got to do this to get there, then cool. But I don't believe that. Yeah.
No.
And this will at least be better than what we've been getting out of that shit.
Yeah. Now, again, there's a lot of work we can do with this Nikki ASH. Almost a superhero. Nikki, almost a superhero. Like, already it's fucking dumb. But if we're going into delusional superhero territory, I might watch. Right? That's a little interesting to me. So we'll see. But that was a great spot.
What pro wrestling used to survive on is that even the ones that are a little more realistic, right? Like, let's say WCW was more realistic back in the day than the cartoonist WWF. Mm-hmm. But it still fringes on things that are like the absurd, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, I mean, like, yeah, that could happen and somebody could say it, but like that doesn't happen in real life, right? Like, people don't screw people over like that, like it's a fucking soap opera all the time and that kind of stuff. But like that's what they've gone away from. Yeah, delusional superhero. Look, people, we can connect to that because we all know somebody that's kind of delusional about something, right? And so this just takes that to the extreme and turns it up to 11. Yeah.
I mean, we even have that right now on HBO with former 16-time world champion John Cena playing Peacemaker, where he's an dumbass. Yes, right? Like, so you could just steal it. Just look, you guys are so fucking lazy. Just steal it all. Just take it and put it for her. You know? At least it's not the main event.
Everybody steals from everybody now. Every type of story's been written now. That's why.
No, I'm saying like legitimately just watch that episode and then have her do that the next week. Like, okay, so you're gonna blow up a bus. I don't know. That's why he did it. Like, that.
What are you gonna do tonight, Nikki? Be like, I don't know. You tell me. No, I told you to watch the fucking show. God damn it! Pull it up now.
Right? Yeah.
Watch it now.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the final one then. Final one, Tom. Final tweet the table. We encourage you to also use hashtag tweet the table. We'll read it right here next week. At FTW Scotty says, no way Team Taz aren't the most over faction at the end of this year, right? Hashtag tweet the table. Oh, well, there's a way, but they should be.
There's one way that they're the most over faction in AEW and maybe pro wrestling. And that's because of one word. Hook. You push that motherfucker to the moon, and yes, Again, Ricky Starks is cool. And Ricky Starks is 1980s disco glam.
He's akin to, early The Rock, right?
Nah, he's not that cool.
Akin to it.
Right,
I'm saying,
yeah.
like, he's like that kind of character, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, look at all my fancy clothes. I'm
Yeah.
really full of myself. Look
Right.
at my abs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm funnier than you. I'm sarcastic, that kind of thing.
And so I like him. I'm not saying I dislike him. But you kick that motherfucker to the side. You run with Powerhouse Hobbs fucking wearing no shirt and a mink coat, and Hook with that fucking cool-ass weird hair, and Taz being disgruntled old man, and that fucking takes over the world. Who's beating that? Who's beating that? Huh?
Who's beating that?
Nobody.
Ain't beating Hook and Powerhouse.
No. I'm telling you. Okay, so that was the last one. Let's get into AEW real quick.
Yes.
Just think of that. So I want to go right into it. We're not going to cover the whole thing because we've been going for a while.
Bounce around. Fuck it.
Yeah, but you think of Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs being like fucking gangsters. We've all seen these motherfuckers. We know what we're talking about. Hanging out in the streets, maybe smoking a fucking Marlboro, and another one smoking a Black and Mild, and they're putting it out, and they're asking you why the fuck you looking at them when they're smoking. Like those motherfuckers, right? You have them standing in the ring, and then from last night, how fucking cool is Malachi Black and Brody King walking out? That shit was like, I'm in. Like, that was fucking
yeah, we need to get into them doing a little bit more spooky, weird shit to people.
But not break it into Undertaker, Kane stuff. Just the hey.
like spooky, like in let's say a real life scenario. Tom, you were coming out to my house out here, live out in a rural area. Mm-hmm. You took a wrong turn. You're in a wooded road. Your car breaks down, and these two motherfuckers with horns start walking up to you.
Right.
And you know nobody's ever seeing from you again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're waking up in a basement. You see those two guys walking down the stairs. You're trying to figure out how to kill
yourself before these guys get a hold of you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
but you run that into, and even, I will say this, the presentation, I said this on Twitter at Table Show because I live tweet during AEW Dynamite. Please join us. But I tweeted this during the show, but just the presentation of Death Triangle with Penta and then Pac, assuming that he was blind, being walked down by Alex, and then the contrast of Malachi Black and Brody King. Like, I was hooked before they even rang the bell. I was like, yes, what the fuck's gonna happen here? You got Bird Box 2 versus fucking weirdos from the basement. Yeah, it was awesome. But the presentation was already in there. Like, they could have just done fucking side headlocks, and I'm like, this is fun. This is gonna be great. Like, they killed it, but like, oh, that was so cool.
That was great. Loved it.
And if you push right now, you push the fucking this would be fun. Oh, Tim, let's have some fun. And then we're going to talk about the main event. But let's have some fun here. You push, like you said, we're going into these guys are in the woods walking with horns on their head, right? And you put that up against Jurassic Express right now. You're going to make them a totally different tag team, right? Mm-hmm. You might have Luchasaurus saying, all right, I'm taking the mask off. My name is whatever. Like, you're not punking me as a man. And then we got some shit going on, right? Like, that can evolve Jurassic Express while elevating. I don't know what we're calling them. Is it Kings of the
Black Throne?
But they're in the House of
Black, right? Yeah, that one bothers me. Like, now, if the House of Black grows and you have a couple people, then it makes more sense, right? That you two are the Kings of the Black Throne or whatever, right?
Yeah, because I think, we've done this before, because when it was the Legion of Doom and the Road Warriors were in the Legion of Doom because it was King Kong Bundy, Jake the Snake, Road Warriors, and they were the so we've done it before.
Tag teams are in fun. The Outsiders were in the NWO. Right?
Exactly. Yes, another perfect example. But yeah, so I wasn't for sure of their name.
Yep.
But yeah, that's going to be fun. Now, let's get into a couple things. I said the main event, but I'm going to take another side quest here.
The kickoff.
Yes. Now, again, we didn't get Brian Kendrick, yada, yada, yada. Two things I want to mention, though. One, Moxley and Danhausen were fucking over.
Yes.
Right? The chance for both guys were second to none, except for Punk, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then post-match, what do you think about
Danhausen's
this?
chants were a little louder, honestly.
Yeah. Well, because it's a little bit more fun, right? You know, like we all love Jon Moxley, but this
you're
new
gonna be
guy,
a little more full-throated.
Yeah, and it's a shiny new toy, right? We haven't seen him do anything dumb, so it's like, Danhausen, right? But let's get to it. Bryan Danielson's promo to Jon Moxley. Tim, where are we going? What
came out of left field, surprised me, loved it, and I love that Daniel Bryan pointed out. He's like, listen to them. Even if they don't like me, they like what I'm saying. And I was like, yes, I do. I seeing like Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley acting as like almost disgruntled, angry mentors / coaches to some of these folks and giving them a mean edge could only be amazing. And it would help bide time for those guys to not have to be in that world title match, right? Like I know he's saying like, if you wanted to be that, you could be that. But here's the reason why they're not chasing that right now. Because they're like, I'm trying to fucking get you there, you dumbass. Right? And then they get somebody there and they're like, why the fuck did we do that? I'm fucking taking it. Right? And they just beat the guy up. Come on.
So here you go. I got a question for you then. So are we doing that? Or are we getting into a match? Do you think Moxley's going to pull the trigger and join? Or you think he's going to run?
We don't now. The promo was too good. And Moxley's selling of like, I mean, fuck. You know what I mean? And it's perfect now with this in real life. He's coming off of rehab. You can be a changed man, right? You can be like, I do see the good of community and the whatever, right? And like, in his own twisted way, right?
Yeah, and we flirted with this before. Remember when he was challenging Jericho for the championship, they asked him if he was going to join the Inner Circle, and he kind of did for one moment, and then he obviously turned his back as soon as he possibly could. But so we've done this a little bit with Moxley, so it would be cool that it's not just a rinse and repeat of what we did with Inner Circle. It is, we're joining. Now, their first recruit, I think, needs to be out of left field to keep us on our toes.
Okay.
I know who you mentioned.
Daniel Garcia.
Right. And eventually I think Daniel Garcia does get in there, right? Like that's
his tweet?
And that's the perfect 3-man, the perfect tag team is Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs, but the perfect little 3-man triangle, even though Death Triangle is great too, but is Moxley, Danielson, and Daniel Garcia. But I think to elevate a division and then in that elevate a new contender, let's say, Moxley and Danielson start this faction. You grab legit Layla Hirsch and you say, this is our first recruit. Now you've got Jon Moxley.
She's been getting mean on Dark
and now, just by proxy, you're getting Moxley and Danielson to stand ringside during a women's match with legit Layla Hirsch and then Tay Conti or whoever it is, right? And now you just say like, well, this must be important because those two guys are top guys here and they're out here for this.
Solid fucking idea. And even like, so you do that, right? You get legit Layla.
And then you get more, right? Yeah, you get more.
And I think, like you said, are we going to get a match? You can get there where they start competing with each other on how to coach the person, right? They start having their disagreements, and then it all blows up.
Well,
you really only do this with 2 to 3 people.
Right, and you could even have them break off, right? They could say, I coach better than you, and then you have their match, but then you can still keep the
pupil.
Right, but then you can even keep that group together. They're like, hey, our 2 dads are fighting, but like we still love each other.
You can even lead, like we said, pupil, them versus so many ways where this is way more interesting and so many branches to go with than
a match.
No, I'm not going to do it. Now let's fight.
Yeah, which again, that's going to be a fun match, right? Whenever it happens. But the more fun story is that. But again, I just think, because again, the people he named, Lee Moriarty, Daniel Garcia, yes, right, sure, 100%. Yeah. But to really put us on our toes, because if she joins, the whole book is open, right? Like anyone can go. I mean, what the hell? Like, that's fun. Yeah, okay. A couple other things. Did you catch Adam Cole's promo? You see who he's taking on? He's taking on Evil Uno.
Right.
Well, who's adjacent to Evil Uno?
I'm
Our
not
world heavyweight champion, Hangman Adam Page. I think
That's where we're going to get to.
we're gonna get Adam
Good.
Cole,
Well,
Adam Page.
And then let's roll into that because Hangman's here and, he's doing a speech. And then out comes Dan Lambert again for the second time, which we'll talk about. The first time was a better time. But the second time, we just didn't need it because then he gets the mic taken from Jake. It just didn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, Jake
He just wanted to
rumbles
make
around.
a joke about Cleveland and the Indians. That's the only reason they let him go out there. He probably was like, I didn't get my joke in about the Indians.
Yeah.
Let me go back.
Let me go out there one more time. Yeah.
Right. That's exactly what fucking happened, isn't it?
Well, what I love the most about the promo, though, is the honesty from Hangman, where he's like, I became champion and I've only wrestled twice. Like, I am here to wrestle and fight.
Yeah, and all this is falling flat. And yes, I love Lance Archer.
He's great.
Ever since been here. And he did this well, right? Fucking shut up, stop talking. This guy's, I'm going to punch his dick off. And then he does. And then he's like, and I'm going to do it again. And fuck are you going to do about it, right? We love that.
Yeah, I love it.
But, like, I would prefer we would have already clipped through this and gotten somebody else,
I wish we would have got more TV time for it because we're doing a Texas death match next week. And let's be 100% honest. I don't think that match warrants what we've been told. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck do you guys hate each other so much? I get that Lance beat you up a couple times, but that just warrants a title match. Why is this Texas death match? I don't get it. So
let's talk about that first showdown, right? AEW. All right. You remember when we used to watch WWE and they would have like the fucking Bellas taking on somebody, out of nowhere in a main spot. And it was all because they literally were trying to get footage for Total Bellas.
Yeah.
That's what this is, where they keep trying to push this fucking Brandy Rhodes thing. This is all going to be B-roll footage on Rhodes at the top when she's like, I'm preparing for my big match, and they're going to show like clips of it happening in the fucking back, and she's going to be like, it's really tough, when you're trying to be an EVP and you're trying to raise a new kid, and all that same tired bullshit they did on those shows. That's what they're doing here. And like, yeah, she's not terrible at it. She's not bad at like what she's doing, right? Yeah. She's good and better than some of these folks, but like nobody's asking for it and nobody's like getting behind it, right? And so like when Dan Lambert comes out, I love that both in kayfabe and in real life, he's just mirroring it. He's like, do you know how bad you have to be at what you're doing here to realize that like they're cheering me? They don't like me. Like, they don't like anything about me and my life choices or anything. And the whole time I'm like, yeah, yes, right? But he's like, but another, like, so his line of like, I thought you would understand, coming from a wrestling family, the dangers of when a wrestler believes their own bullshit, because that's how this is coming off. I don't believe in any way whatsoever that I'm getting worked here and Brandy Rhodes is the best wrestling actor and really isn't this way and is portraying this character because they're trying to make her the face. And that's what he's pointing out. It's the same thing they're doing with Cody Rhodes. Well, you guys keep trying to be like, everybody loves us. We're the mom and dad of the show. And everyone's like, no. Matter of fact, I don't like my mom and dad either. Not me. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, there's people like, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And so Dan Lambert's like, you realize you've just made shit like the enemy of my enemy is my friend for me and these people here? Like, that you've got a conservative, rich, AEW hating asshole, right? Then they're cheering me for you. And this Brandy from the block line.
Oh, that was
she's
great. Pointing
out her fakeness of all of it. Like, I don't know where AEW, like, as good as it was, as entertaining as it was, that was the bad move to have Lambert go out there and shoot him down like that.
So I didn't understand the whole segment. Two reasons why. One, Cody is doing this whole thing where I am the face, right? He cuts that very impassioned promo where I'm here on a handshake deal. I'm here to blah, 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 all the stuff, right? But then not even 3 seconds in, Brandy's like, it's great to be here in Cleveland. Or is it Chicago? Like, she's doing the heel thing. She knew that she was going to get booed. So, okay. But then if you know you're going to get booed.
I forgot about that. So she did go out there to get booed. So then, like, why?
But then why do heel? Right. So that's one. That made no fucking sense.
Well, yeah, because then you shit on Ethan Page. And then, like, am I supposed to feel bad for Ethan Page now?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
and then
know.
you said everybody knows we only hired you to get to Josh Alexander, but you didn't get to Josh Alexander.
Yeah, exactly.
So you failed? So again,
Right.
you look like an idiot?
It's right. So there's
This
a
is
lot
the
of
problem of
clunkiness.
just letting everybody just come up with their own shit and go out there without running it by people.
or just I'm not going to do it. I refuse, right? Anyhow, so that's number one, right? It was clunky and messy, and it's heel, and they're throwing one-liners that are fun, but like, right? Because I know that you're not dialed into the MMA community, but when she was talking about Amanda Nunes, because Amanda Nunes is their prized fighter, right? The number one of their number one fighters in the gym, and she left the gym. Well, she left.
Oh, she left the gym. Okay.
She's starting her own gym. She's saying, fuck American Top Team, right? So as an MMA fan, you're like, ooh, damn, she's going there, right? But, whatever. So that's number one.
Heel. Tell her that line.
Well, yeah, but heel, whatever, right? But then two, and this is where, again, that's where this what happened next is where I thought about legit Layla Hirsch joining Moxley and Danielson, because one of the criticisms, even today, and I don't know if it's as warranted as it used to be, but it's still something where, hey, we want more women representation on this show. Stop giving us the one women's match and then going back to the guys, right? So then their fucking answer is Brandy and a celebrity? Paige Van Zandt? Like, that's your answer to more women's wrestling? That's a WWE move. That's Ronda Rousey coming in, right?
Forgive me. I also saw a quote from Paige Van Zandt recently, from the last time she was there, that from all intents and purposes, I wasn't to understand was no longer a kayfabe storyline quote. She was doing an interview out there, and she said, like, fucking, they're kind of dorks. I'm not, like,
her
I mean? Like, I don't want to be there.
Yeah, well, it was her, and then the other one, other female, Kayla Harrison, who's a bad motherfucker too. But like, they're just like, this is a paycheck, and that's fine, right? Like, Brock Lesnar doesn't love professional wrestling either, so I'm not saying you got to grow up to love this shit.
But it just feels like why would she be so mad at Brandy that she wants to kick her ass? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm not dialed into the MMA community, as you said, but I know the name Paige Van Zandt, and I know if this were real life, Brandy Rhodes is going to get her ever-loving ass kicked. Like, I know we're telling those stories here, and we're trying, you know what I mean, against all odds, I guess, but that's not what you're booking here. It's not against all odds, right? It's Rhodes to the top. All the odds are stacked with you. So I don't get it.
And, when Daniel Bryan, when he was Daniel Bryan, when Daniel Bryan won the world championship, TNA tried to replicate that with Eric Young, and everyone's like, what the fuck, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying that they are replicating it, but the same week Ronda Rousey comes back and wins the Rumble, and you get Diet Ronda Rousey and Paige Van Zandt to then come out and beat up on Brandy Rhodes, you look kind of like an amateur, right? Because, unless you get Amanda Nunes, everyone else is not as legit as Ronda Rousey that you can get. So you kind of look like a diet version of what WWE's doing. So I didn't like any of it. I mean, I like the one-liners, right? But like, let's
well, but all of that's carried by, I mean, as much as we love Bobby Heenan, and the Heenan family was a big staple on a lot of shows, and he would come out several times, but like, after a while, it just becomes about the Bobby Heenan, right? Like, we don't remember the Barbarian much. We don't remember, I mean, we remember some Rick Rude, of course, but like, most of the stuff was like, it was Heenan. The feud was Heenan versus somebody, right?
Hogan,
And that's, it was always Hogan. But like, and now that's what we're getting here. It's Lambert and his lackeys, and so everybody's always going to look like a lackey to Lambert. And it's weird that like sometimes that's in a face capacity, and sometimes it's in a
I would say though, Men of the Year need to do something, because now they're just getting their phones and taking pictures of bullshit and then not even cutting promos in the ring with Dan Lambert, right? You can grab the mic and say, oh, you think Josh Alexander, and retort what Brandy said, but you didn't do that either, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's heel and heel. We don't really like either one of them. And then you throw in Paige Van Zandt the same week Ronda wins the Rumble, so you look like a diet version of what the big guys are doing. Well, so just walk into the ocean.
Dan Lambert is like working with these guys on how to craft, you know what I mean? How to
promos,
how to have a rap, right? How to talk on the fly.
collectively get this group of people together and just have them walk into the ocean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's just.
But hey, the main event.
Oh! This is a snap. This is a chef's kiss.
Now they hit a home run.
Did you? Okay, so if you're watching this show or listening to this podcast, you know who the fuck won, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have to tell you. So,
Right.
Did you see MJF's tweet though the next day?
Yeah.
About the second city, so I beat that bum twice.
Yeah.
What the good night? That was
Yeah.
awesome. He beat him twice.
You beat him twice.
Credit to CM Punk for allowing himself to be beat in Chicago, right? Like,
Right.
At least he gets it. And credit to all, like, this is what makes AEW great is, you know, where Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar are always made to look the strongest possible people in the world. You got Bryan Danielson losing clean to Hangman Adam Page, and now you get CM Punk losing in Chicago twice to MJF. Like, that is amazing. This is the best story right now. This is so
absolutely.
good.
And did you also notice he wore Yankees trunks, which is what Punk did to Cena in Boston, right?
Yeah.
God, loved it. And so the match ended, and I was cognizant at the time, right? I was like, that's weird, but I was like, yeah, you know, a little more believable, right? We don't always know when the main event ends, so we'll throw something else out at the end or something. And they've done that before where, like, the main event wasn't technically the biggest thing on the card. But, yeah, the whole thing of, like, all right, now he raises his arm and the fucking thing falls out, and he's like, hey, right? Like, fuck this, start it over. And I was like, oh, man, they should have just stuck with that, right?
Well, because you thought,
because you thought, here now Punk wins.
Here Punk gets the win, right?
Nope. Love it.
And also, credit to AEW for getting duped, because Wardlow walks out and Wardlow does the face-off with Punk and does the Young Bucks spot with Hangman where they like stand to the side and like, all right, you're going to beat him? Go ahead and beat him, right? Now, different kind of story, but same environment, right?
Right.
But
it was basically like you felt like he was like, you know, I could end this for you right now.
Or, you know, me, just like,
right? Yeah. Like, so it was just kind of like, I'm allowing you to do this, basically.
Yeah, like,
right?
You know what? I side with you. I'm stepping aside. Take him out, right?
Not even that. I think he was just kind of being like, don't think for a second that if I didn't want to, I would have made this outcome different. Right?
Yeah. I took it as he was looking at him and going, you know, MJF told me to fuck you up, but I actually think I agree with you. And so he steps aside. But that's not even so right.
Either way is fine.
Right. But we got duped because the motherfucker is handing the ring behind his back, but we don't get shown that.
Yeah, we didn't
so when
see it.
MJF gets into the ring and you see him starting to put, you're like, and then boom, and then on the replay, that's where it was.
Yep.
That is some great ass storytelling.
That is subtle because, like, you know, WWE would have made that obvious, right? Or they always would, right? You would see the throwing of the ring and they would have been like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Right.
I almost was like a little upset with Excalibur. He does this sometimes, like with the whole, like, that's Malachi Black, right? When we'd never heard the name before, right? He was like, do you just have the ring on? Or whoever said it. I don't remember who it was, but it was like, oh man. You know, then when you did the replay, like, why didn't you wait to the replay to say, yeah, it was the ring, right? Like, he suspected the ring for some reason, like not just brass knucks or not, you know,
something
anything.
else,
Right.
Because I honestly thought as Wardlow's walking down, JR is going like, whose side is he on? And I'm like, are you guys doing the fucking Bash at the Beach with Hogan?
Yeah.
Like, I know he's not Hogan, but like, you're telling me what the fuck he's about to do, you know?
Yeah.
Nope. They duped me. They got me. So on top of this match being outstanding, 40 minutes, storytelling, you got CM Punk's arm and knee, you got MJF's neck, the whole thing. You even got a fun, again, being dialed into the MMA community. You even got Bilal Muhammad doing the smack to MJF's chest. So remember when Punk held MJF back and you saw a fan? That was he's a UFC welterweight fighter. So anyhow, I thought that was fun, right? You know, because they're teammates or whatever. So all the fun things. And then the cherry on top. You think Wardlow is doing it. He's stepping aside and we're going to start Wardlow and MJF. Nope. It was the ring behind the back. So now we got to do MJF Punk 2?
Yeah.
Right? Or no?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and maybe we get Punk and Wardlow again in there somehow, right? Like,
yeah.
Again.
He gets pissed and he's like, you cost me the match. We get that match and then we get MJF again? Maybe at Revolution?
So here's what happens, right? So, all right, here's how I book it. Punk then is pissed at Wardlow, right? He's like, I'm coming for you, MJF, but first I got to settle my score with you. He finds a way to beat Wardlow, right? MJF doesn't help Wardlow. And Wardlow's like, motherfucker, the only reason I had to wrestle this fucking match was because you didn't help me win it. Like, you know what I mean? Like all this kind of shit. Or even like maybe he tried a half-ass attempt to help him and ends up fucking him, accidentally fucking him over. And then we get the like, all right, now it's on. And Punk's like, well, shit, I was going to go after you, but it looks like you got your own fucking problem. I'm over here taking on Hangman or something,
Yeah.
Like,
that's perfect. So yeah, this is what I think you should do. And we'll see, right? Because AEW storytelling is on a whole nother level than I've ever can remember, right? So yeah, you have next week CM Punk say, Wardlow, you big muscled up bitch, you cost me that match. Wardlow comes out. They say 2 weeks time or whatever it is, me and you, I'm kicking your ass. So then Wardlow's like, do you remember I powerbombed you 10 times? Like, you're a nothing to me, right? So in 2 weeks
you're
time,
just a Punk.
Right. In 2 weeks time, you do the match. Punk learning because he's a veteran and savvy veteran skills and stuff is getting the better of Wardlow. MJF is ringside. Wardlow looks to MJF for the ring or the spot, right? Like, okay, MJF, like this is where you help me. And to your point, MJF is like, what? I'm not help. What? You think, no, I don't do that. I don't help you. You help me, right?
I pay
Punk
you.
gets the victory,
That's how I
right?
help you.
Right, so Punk gets the victory. Wardlow, after the pin, dusts himself off. He storms off. We don't see Wardlow. Then Punk is like, MJF, you little broke dick motherfucker, I'm coming after you. And then at pay-per-view, whatever, Full Gear, Revolution, whatever it is, right? Those two wrestle. And then Wardlow comes out again, and we're like, fuck, he's going to help MJF one more time. And then that's finally where we get Wardlow to go like, no, I mean it this time. And then doesn't help. Punk beats MJF. Then MJF is like, Wardlow? And then they go after it.
Love it.
That's how you do it.
But this is what I love about AEW, man. There's
It's
so many
the
of these
best.
fun moments
Give
where
me
you
this
don't know
video
what's
game.
happening.
Give me this video game. I just want to, it's so much fun. I feel like a kid when I watch AEW. Of course it has its faults, right? Every era has its faults. But this is so much fun. So much fun.
It's so much fun, as has been this episode, unless you've got anything else to
No.
talk about, Tom. So we love this week of pro wrestling. There were some downsides and some upsides, but
AEW is great.
The case, right? AEW is super fun. We want to hear from you. Use hashtag tweet the table, and we'll read them right here next week when we come back. And bye.
Bye-bye.
The Spanish